Finally, we are on air, and on our stage is Thomas Feagans, and the stage is yours. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Well, sorry about the delay for some of you that have been waiting for this talk. I wanted to go ahead and give you a little bit of background about myself, and then we'll go into some of the transitional things that are happening around with blockchain and distributed ledger, and really around assets. And I think it's really interesting because people should keep in mind that what's really happening now is a matter of a paradigm shift. And what I mean by that is this situation or pandemic or whatever you want to call it has caused a really lightning speed change to occur with ecosystems that will drive for the mid-market and for companies that cannot be resilient at this time. They need a mechanism by which to do that. So let's back up a little bit. I'll tell you about myself and then we'll go into this.
Yeah.
So I have 20 plus years of experience from silo systems into integrated systems to, oh my God, to blockchain and distributed ledger, from designing them, from building them, from implementing them, from doing transformation with them, etc. I've worked for Arthur Andersen, I've worked for IBM, I've worked for a number of entities throughout my time. I've spent more than about 10 years in Asia across multiple countries, and then also had entire teams across ASEAN and worked inside of Taiwan and China as well. So I worked with and advised some of the top 100 companies, including IBM and others. So, so that gives you a little bit of background about me. Let's talk about the sort of transition that we're seeing and what's really happening. When you look at the historical path of what's happened with silo systems, then moving into what I called enterprise integrated software vendors like PeopleSoft, SAP, Oracle, Bond, all of these entities, they basically took and integrated these silo systems into a back and front end system that would do multiple things. So as you progress from these ISVs, and I work directly with Dave Duffield, Tom Siebel, Larry Ellison, all of them, honest to God, and help design some of those functions. When you look at these ISVs, they have a great, enormous wealth of functionality built in. So I started looking at blockchain back in 2011, 2012, and I quickly realized that the distributed ledger is a very powerful component, DLT. And then when you look at distributed ledger, it provides the capacity to authenticate products, to authenticate data, to authenticate and bring real trust and value. So I created something called ACT, and it really started it out of food. And I built this, I don't know, like 6 years ago. So we have this functionality that we're looking at with Ohana City, which is part of what I'm co-founder on, and then great other people that are on the team like Steve Chung and others. We put together to build into an ecosystem to allow businesses to authenticate compliance, et cetera, of their products instantly, very quickly and fastly at a high speed rate. We keep it simple and smart. So we use the way of actually empowering companies, not actually taking their data and passing it on and making it all proprietary. We keep it simple. We keep it very focused, very simple, very straight to the point. So we are able to do it from a transactional basis and from also a subscription basis. The authentication part is only one piece of what we're looking at for the future. If you look at the United States, there's more than 600 billion counterfeit products, $600 billion worth of counterfeit products per year, right? So when you look at that total mass, that's huge. So the US, we've had conversations with the Trump administration already. We're down the path looking at the National Institute of Standards and Technology to bring in the components that I've designed and that we're looking at as a new standard for import and export goods for compliance reasons within the United States to show that these are authentic products. We can kick out a non-authentic product in a heartbeat. So we've been in discussions with Cisco, Insight, and other entities on really looking at an ecosystem, because having this one piece is just one piece. But we really keep it focused on making sure we're bringing the community value together. And that community is something greater, which provides us resiliency to the small and medium business markets. If we don't do this, within the US, there's small and medium business market comprises about 33% of those people employed. Out of 150 million people, you're talking 50 million people that'll be likely very impacted very heavily. And we're looking at somewhere close to perhaps looking at a 30 million people being unemployed here very shortly. So, the Trump administration and others with them, it went out to Cisco, went out to all the high tech vendors and others and said, hey, what can we do? What do we need to get on this? Because we need these people to get back up into work, these people to get employed, and we need to bring some resiliency here. And resiliency is really the key word that's driving this. I hear people talking about a lot of their projects or a lot of their pieces, et cetera. When I look at what I'm doing and what I'm designing, I look at it for business value. I don't always look at how much I'm going to make out of this, but what value am I bringing to those customers and why are they going to come to me? Why are they going to come to us? What's really there? So we bring them that value. We look at that community. When you look at ecosystems have been around, but a true ecosystem means like, take for example, Cisco. Cisco has thousands and thousands and thousands of clients. Can they really get to all their mid-market clients? Absolutely not. With all the harm that's going on to them right now, are they going to have real troubles come perhaps fourth quarter? Maybe they can go manage through it by third quarter, but by fourth quarter, they're going to feel the pain, just like Apple will and others will, okay? So when we look at this, we say, okay, well, how do we get beyond that? So we created this situation by which we can authenticate products, authenticate data, and use that when a manufacturing and a distribution and a retail model very quickly where they can come on board and they can be this can be realized immediately. So we even have a COVID-19 solution, which basically doesn't require us or anybody to necessarily have an FDA approval, because the way the data is structured, it's structured to be validating and verifying and empowering that entity. We don't want that privacy of that data. We don't want to own their data. We want to push that data through, get it out there, get it quickly to the small and medium business market, and there's reasons for it. So they can get going. They can get their goods done. They have that process there. So our model takes into account looking at this group and this whole community, and we know that fairly soon at some point, there will be this sort of, I hate to use the word Facebook, but it's really a B2B book, if you want to call it that, B2B community. And it's going to be a live community with built-in collaboration, built-in authentication, built-in ways to be able to interact directly to those people you have. So you got like a 1 + 1 = +5. And that's how we will proceed with that. So there's much, much more to it. And this has to happen now and fairly quickly, because as I don't think people realize, this is not just the US, this is worldwide. The US is feeling the pain because we're getting around kind of understanding, okay, do we go outside? Do we not go outside? Are we going to die? Are we not going to die? And in some cases, kind of like, you know what, it's just all nuts. So do you wear a mask while you're riding a bike and you're breathing heavy and everything else? I mean, really? No. But I'm not here to talk about the medical opinions of this. It's not my forte. But from a design and conceptual point, when you're looking from the past to the present and where we're going to go, we really need these ecosystems to excel. And they are going to, because the demand is here. And this is a paradigm shift being caused by this. And I think people are finally realizing that. So the United States is going to look into its technology entities. We're looking to that to provide this type of capability to the mid-market. So we're in the process of having discussions and trying to work down the path with Cisco, trying to work down the path with Insight and multiple of other high-tech entities. We can do this in the pharma space. We can do it just pretty much anywhere. Now, we don't use these multiple modules, right? Nonsense. You don't need all that. Well, you're gonna have to manage all these variations of all these things and all that, combine it all together. No, keep it simple. Keep it in a common matrix where you can extract out what you need and you validate and verify right there and you're done. And it runs through the process. It's simple, fast, and it's there. So that's what I had designed about 6.5 years ago, but I didn't think it would be nearly as intentionally valuable. So I've been working with Char and Bacard. I don't know if you know who they are, but in the past, CP Group is like the third richest Asian company in all of Asia. They're the number one exporter, owner of the number one license of exporter for China. So they're what, $33 billion. So, you know, and I just happen to be somewhat of have a relationship with Supachai there, who is the co-chairman. So, you know, we're working down the path and that's for chicken. And as somebody was talking about that before, we've been down that path. I've had discussions with them. I've been interacting with them. And I'm already down the path with the US government, and I'm down the path with, we're down the path with multiple entities. We're looking for the right partner and then kind of looking at this, because when you put these pieces together, it's not necessarily always about the funding. You can get the funds if you've got something really valuable, and believe me, the need for this is there. So the putting that piece together with the right leadership and the right vision, it's a matter of finding the right partner, because you really want to find those right partners who are going to drive this dynamically together and get it out there. So I think, Europe and Asia, I know Asia looks at it quite differently, but the US is definitely feeling the pain. So they're going to act fast. Within China, I think this solution might actually cause a little bit of difficulty, because, and actually having lived in both places and understanding of both places, the amount of goods that are going to require to come through import and export are going to have to reach a whole new compliance level. So this 600 billion that's out there in counterfeit could go down, be cut in half in 1 year or less. 1 year or less. So imagine, you're looking like at Amazon. Amazon just lets their own people certify that, oh yeah, this is authentic. Well, Amazon sells a lot of stuff that we understand and what we've heard, and I can't say this for fact because I don't want to get into issues here, but that have come through, and others have reported that have been not authentic. The conceptual part here is, go buy a Rolex, you want it to be a Rolex. I go buy my girlfriend a Hermes bag, and that's expensive. You want to make sure it's a true Hermes bag, And so these luxury goods and other things and value information, et cetera, are going to come to fruition. But the key I wanted to get across everybody, and I think everybody should really realize and understand, this is a paradigm shift that's occurring, all right? And it's happening partially because of this pandemic, but it's going to happen anyway. So ecosystems are going to continue to emerge. And the ability to be resilient from these ecosystems is going to give us a greater latitude of real growth. And that growth is going to come. So that's, in a nutshell, kind of what I have. We can jump into questions if you wish. But I've had this for 6 years. We had developed it. And Ohana is, besides just this one piece, we have 6 or 7 other components that we haven't actually talked about. But Ohana is the community. And my co-partner, Steve Chung, and you can find him at Ohana City, Steve has come up with this concept of, okay, let's go ahead and pull all of these entities in. So they're not just looking at a business vertical, or let's say they're not looking at things as like a finite line, but as a community. Oftentimes the small and medium business market, they want information that is right. Okay, well, if I sell this much more, do I get this much incentive, or do I get this much of a discount? Or if I have processed this and you're shipping this, can I authenticate this, and will you provide that push on service so I can provide that view to my customers? Yep, you're right. That's what's going to happen in that community, and that's what's coming. And there's multitudes of that. And the ecosystem will be like a high-tech ecosystem, or it'll be a biopharma ecosystem, or it'll be a COVID ecosystem like COVID-19. So those things are already underway. They're not just something that's behind the times. I mean, digitalization and transformation has been going on for years. And the real power I see of what can happen now is really within the distributive ledger. In America, what I expect to see is that manufacturing will bring forward the adoption of distributive ledger. Manufacturing, distribution, pharmaceuticals, medical equipment, things that nearly need to be authenticated because people want to trust it. People don't trust. I don't know about you, but I mean, in the US, we kind of wonder whether we trust our own government at sometimes now, right? So they want trust, and this is trust. So, and that will, the other common point about things I want people to kind of understand, for a community to be successful, you empower that community by letting that community have the information and things it desires that it needs. It's not necessarily about us just empowering Cisco or Cisco empowering its clients. It's about all of Cisco's community, all those that touch into Cisco, wanting information that will provide that to him, and maybe be able to push on to 5 or 6 of their other clients. So you're not really competing. If you're smart, you're going to empower these people. You're not going to compete with them. And that's what a community does. It empowers them. So you get much more growth out of it. And that's the real message that's being brought forward. So maybe if
Thomas, thank you. I really love your empathic speech. Yes, it's very encouraged me as well, but we have to go to the finish. Yes, couple of words, yes, on the end.
Well, really, I think the thing that everybody should keep in mind is when I say lightning speed, I think you're going to see it's going to come from pain, meaning that, as Cisco looks forward and as IBM and others do, they're going to be struggling with how they're going to get their customers back on board and buying from them and how they're going to service them. So they have to bring them back on board. I mean, customers can go directly to, let's say, Cisco and buy, but Cisco's going to want that mid-layer community to continue to develop and grow their business. So I expect the enterprise companies are already feeling this and they're already driving this direction.
Yeah, for sure. You're completely right. Yes, now our next speaker is already ready. Yes, Thomas, I have to say you goodbye. Yes, it's really very interesting speech. I really get excited of it. Very amazing for your community as well. Thomas, I want to say you goodbye. There's this moment, just maybe let's see on another event as well.
All right, you take care. Thanks again.
Thanks
All right, bye-bye.